Well folks, today I'm going to get my 260 VTR out. I'm going to shoot it at 200 yards, check the zero. I'm going to shoot the little AR 6.5 Grendel at 200 yards. And it's fairly calm today. There's a little bit of a breeze, but it stays this calm. I'm going to take them out and shoot them long ways, maybe 460 to maybe 720 yards. We got a place I can shoot those distances. Anyway, I'm going to get them out and get started. Little AR, I'm going to be shooting 95 grain VMAXs, and VTR I'll be shooting 100 grain hollow points out of it. This VTR, I'll be shooting 100 grain Sierra hollow points. They're at 3,150 feet per second. I'll be shooting 95 grain VMAXs out of the VTR at, I believe it was right at 2,900 to 2,910, somewhere around there. But the hollow points I've got for the VTR, I bought them at Sierra years ago. They had a bunch of second bullets up there that these normally have a pretty good sized hole in the tip of them for varmint hunting, but for some reason they had made a bunch that had a small hole in the tip, looked like a match king tip. Now they're not a boat tail bullet, but they have a little better ballistic coefficient than the regular 100 grain hollow points that Sierra sells. They don't list these in their books or anything, but because I guess they were an accident. They may have had the wrong die in the machine when they was making their 100 grain hollow point run, and they caught it and threw a whole bunch of them away. And they had a whole barrel full of them, and I bought, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 of them. It wasn't a whole lot of money for them, and anyway, I got them, and they shoot really good. I've shot them out of two different 260 rifles, and they shoot good out of both of them. So well folks, here goes with the little Grendel. Well, this gun's got a factory type trigger in it, and it's got a lot of creep to it. So you'll probably see my trigger pulling quite a ways before it goes off. I know a good trigger is going to help this gun shoot better. Okay, here we go. It usually creeps back 2 times before it ever goes off. Folks, this brass catcher, it works good. I'm glad I bought that. Okay folks, I got the VTR out now, 260. It's just like this Grendel is just like a miniature 260. It's a little bit smaller around, a little bit shorter. Shooting a 95 grain bullet at 2,900 to 260. I've pushed this to 3,250 with this 100 grain bullet in it, but it seems to shoot pretty good at 3,150. The Lapua brass, I had a hard time getting it any faster than that. It was over pressure. But I got some Winchester brass. It's a lot lighter brass. I was able to put more powder in it, and I got it up to a little over 3,200, 3,220 with the Winchester brass. Same powder, primer, and everything. Just able to put a little bit more powder in that Winchester case. But anyway, let's give it a try. Well, I think I finally got it where I wanted it. I overcorrected on the first time I made my adjustment, so I had to do it again. I shot too low. But I think it's on now. We'll go down there and check the targets and mark them, and we'll take that target out to power line where I can see to shoot a long ways, and we'll try to stretch them out. Well, the little Grendel, I shot these 3 shots first, moved it up, shot those, moved it up some more and to the left, and I shot these, then I moved it down and to the left some more, and that was the last 3 shots that I shot at 200 yards. Like I said, this is a 3-inch card, so you know that's over 2-inch group right there, but that trigger pull's pretty bad on that gun. That's really not that, I mean, if you just had those 3 shots, that's a pretty dang good group. So is those right there. And the VTR, the first shot here, here, and here. And I lowered it, moved it to the right, and I lowered it too much. I shot these 3. So then I moved it back up, shot these. 200 yards. Like I said, they're not match grade bullets, either one of them. They're more of hunting bullets. But that's probably what I'll do with those 2 guns, is hunt with them. But anyway, we're going to take them out to the power line and set them up and see what kind of groups we can get out of them in a long ways. Well, on that first group on that Grendel, it was measured 2.5 inches. Second group, 1.5 inches, about 1 3/4 inch group there. And that group there measures 2.25. So 260 VTR measures 1.5 inches, that group. That group there is about 1 7/8 inches. And that one's just a hair over 2 inches, 2 1/8. There's the target, way down there. There's 360 yards there. That's a pretty fair poke. So we'll try the little Grendel and the VTR here, 360 yards. We'll see what the stray lock says for the Grendel. It says 4.15. So let's do it. Here we go. Oh, let's go see if we got close. Well, folks, and neither one of them did too awful bad. There's a little bit of a crosswind here, so they're both hitting about the same amount off the paper. The velocity must be pretty consistent because I've only probably got an inch of dispersion up and down, but the wind's blowing that way. Same way with the Grendel. Had one that shot low. Could have been me. Like I said, that trigger's not real good on that gun. I need a good trigger for it, but I'll deal with it for now, I guess. But about the same amount of wind drift. Well, I misplaced my tape measure, but still got a way I can kind of close here. Well, if you're just taking those 3 shots, that's not too bad. It's 1.5 inches at 360 yards there, but and you've got these other ones out here that throw the group off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-inch group. That one there could have just been me though. If you omit that worst one. The widest spot here. 1, 2, 3, 3.5 inches. So, you know, that's still negative angle. Same way over here with the bigger gun. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 3/4 inch group. But if you just measure these 3 here, it's under 1 inch for 3 shots, under 1 inch. If you omit the one wild one here, let's go with these 4. A little over 2.25 inch group. Like I said, the dispersion was due to the wind. I didn't try to make any windage adjustments. I just held on the target and let the wind take the bullets where they was going to go. But I'm glad to see that them 100 grain hollow points, there's not very much vertical dispersion at all. So my velocity is pretty consistent with those. And same goes here. I would assume that was probably my fault, that one that shot low, but we'll see what they do at 600 or so. Well, I know that both of these bullets are going to have quite a bit of wind drift to the left. They drifted a little bit at 360 yards, and shooting out past 700, it's going to be significant. But I don't know exactly how hard the wind's blowing. I don't have my little wind meter with me to tell me. So I'm hoping that they all stay on the paper or on the cardboard. I know they're not going to hit the target. I just kind of want to see what kind of groups that they're going to shoot at this distance with this hunting type ammo. If they group within 10 inches or so, then I'll be able to hit a coyote that far, provided it's not windy as hell, like it is today. But we're going to give it a try anyhow. Just don't know if you don't try it. I'm hoping that they shoot halfway decent. I'm just guessing on the ballistic coefficient of those 100 grain hollow points, because they're not listed in Sierra's manuals or anything on their website or nothing. I've shot them out of 2 different rifles and they group pretty well, but I'm not for sure what the ballistic coefficient is, so it's hard to, when you start shooting out past 300 yards or so, if you don't know what it is and you're off a little bit, it'll really make your bullet drop off. So hopefully we'll get close. I'm guessing it at 400. It could be less, or it could be a little bit more. I don't know. Just have to give it a try and see. Then we'll know, and we can work around that. We might have to fudge the number up a little bit or down a little bit. We know what the velocity is because we shot it over the chronograph. got that data, so we can figure out what the ballistic coefficient is. We're pretty close to it anyway, just by shooting it. Folks, I don't know if I'll be able to get this or not on here. I ranged it already. It was 734 yards. I read 732. That's pretty close. I guess I'll go with that. It's going to be a long shot for that little 95 grain VMAX, especially in this little bit of a breeze. Well, for either one of the bullets, the 95 grain VMAX, I think it's like a .365 ballistic coefficient, and 100 grain hollow point, I guessed it at 400, and that's what I'm going to put in again, 400. So let's give it a try. Well, folks, here we go at 730 some yards. I'll check the stray lock and see what it says to give it for elevation. That's almost 20.5 inches. That wind's really whipping right now. I have to wait a minute. Well, we're going to load up the 260 now. See what kind of damage that thing can do. It says 16 inches, 15.97, so twelve, 13, 14, 15, 16. One, two, three, 4 shots right there. That's about a 10-inch group. That's 735 yards in the wind. I can't complain too bad about that. The VTR, they hit there. Same way, about 10 inches there. Still ain't too bad for how bad windy it is. Looks like I need to probably adjust my ballistic coefficient a little bit. It's probably less than 400. I mean, it put it pretty much on at 360, but probably will change that ballistic coefficient to like 390 and try it again sometime. I need to figure out exactly what it is. But anyway, that's some groups at 736 yards with the 6.5 Grendel AR in some high wind. And that's the VTR with 100 grain hollow points. Well, folks, it blew both of the groups about 20 inches off target. That one there, I think it was due to the wind extreme, because it puffed pretty hard there right as I was squeezing the trigger on it, and then I waited and waited to shoot two more, and it finally I just went ahead and shot. It wasn't quite as bad, but those four right there, I'd say they're about where they should be, right about 20 inches from the target, because I was shooting at that one with the 95 grain VMAX. And 100 grain hollow points, they are also right at about 20 inches to the left. Now, granted, they're lower, but I probably misjudged the ballistic coefficient of that bullet a little bit. Well, folks, I found a tape measure, and that's pretty close. It's right at about 20.5 inches to the left from the wind, and the 260 was about 18.5. Of course, it was a higher velocity to start with, and a little bit better ballistic coefficient than the 95 grain VMAXs, but it clearly wasn't 400, or it wouldn't have dropped that much. It's probably more like 390 or so. But here again, if you just shot 3 shots, you know, that's 6.5 inch, about 6.5 inch group there for 3 shots. And if you just take these 3 shots here, same way, about 6.25. I like to try to shoot 5 shots, so it just kind of gives you more sense of what the gun's doing.